Hey y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. Y'all got y'all tickets to the Beyonce concert? Bad bitches to the left. Pretty bitches to the right. We can be both. Be in the middle if you like. Renaissance is upon us, and if you got the code, you'll be seeing the queen very soon. If you ain't gone across the pond already. Now, I ain't never seen the lady in person, but of course the girls are saying this is her best one yet. And if you saying that after what she did at Beachella, y'all gonna have to pick me up off the floor. In this particular show, she chooses to double down on the album's intentionality to champion black queer culture and honor her Uncle Johnny. Oh, Lynae, why you keep talking to us about queer stuff? That's some white people shit anyway. Well, number one, happy pride. Number two, how many times I gotta tell y'all, white people just the ones told y'all it was bad. Colonization did a number on us, boy. How many times do I have to tell you guys that homosexual relationships existed in Africa before white people came? Queerness cited in West Africa, East Africa, Zimbabwe, Angola, Cameroon, and Rwanda, just to name a few. There are even Bushman cave paintings that depict same-sex relationships. The Lengo people of Uganda had the concept of mudoko dako, a gender identity outside of the binary that can most roughly be translated as womanized man. So I hate to tell you, it was not butt-breaking. White people did not impress it upon us as a tactic to prevent us from reproducing. Queerness existed naturally before the disruption that is white supremacy. Y'all worried about the wrong thing, but guess who not? Beyonce. She done incorporate a whole ass ball into the show. If you don't know what ballroom is, it's also a black thing. Ballroom refers to ball or house culture that originated in black and brown queer communities in the 1860s. And where at? Harlem, New York. With ballroom legend Kevin Jay-Z Prodigy as commentator and HBO's legendary fave Honey Balenciaga. And while there was a time ballroom was defined by the limitless imaginary of poor black and brown folk, back in the day it was where well-to-do blacks threw masquerade galas. Men would come dressed in women's clothing and women would come dressed in suits. There was also a competitive element that stemmed from life on the plantation. Very much like ballroom culture, enslaved people would perform a specific category for a prize. And I can't say they had more than one category, but the one I do know they had was a cakewalk. There they would mock the mannerisms of white men, and most time right in their faces, and the best imitation would get a cake. Likewise, at the end of these masquerades, prizes were given to the best drag of the night, and the people, gay, straight, white, black alike, would attend from all over the country, including William Dorsey Swan. In the 1880s, Swan, a man who had formerly been enslaved and was affectionately known as the Queen, also became the first person to identify himself as a drag queen. He was also the first person to lead an American LGBTQ+ resistant groups. We have to do everything! Swan reigned over what we would describe as a ballroom scene in the 1880s, hosting secret balls for the queer community in the Washington, D.C. area. Drag balls in and of themselves were an act of resistance, because even looking like you were on your way to a ball was enough for the patty rollers to hem you up. By the 1920s, drag balls had become increasingly popular among the New York square scene anyway. And leave it to white supremacy to get in everybody's business. The white gay elite had begun to push out and exclude working class black and Latino performers who had come up with the tradition in the first place. And as living out loud became more dangerous for black queer people after the 1960s, this is when houses began to spring up. So when you hear about legendary houses like La Beja, Corey, Extravaganza, these were all established safe havens for queer people, many of who had been ostracized by their biological families, living on the streets and selling themselves to get by. Which is why it means so much that one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, and a black one, has chosen to uplift and champion this resilient, life-saving tradition in her groundbreaking, record-breaking world tour at a time when LGBTQ+ rights are being rolled back all over the globe. Y'all said don't say gay, and she's screaming it from the rooftops. And while the conversation about queerness still makes a large portion of our own community uncomfortable, I'm gonna tell y'all just like I told y'all 2 years ago, we will not heal like that. None of us are free until all of us are free. And what many people do not realize is that the most major movements for our liberation have been largely influenced and driven by black queer people. And that is because the most desperate of us are willing to risk the most. Huey P. Newton said that even the homosexual is revolutionary. Perhaps he is the most revolutionary. And how disappointing it must be for revolutionaries to be treated like sacrificial lambs by the people who benefit from their sacrifice. Damn, ate y'all up with that one.